The severe weather overnight, heavy snow and rain.
Ang lakas ng hangin nito
dahil sa mga pagbahang dulot ng bagyong Auring.
Madaling araw kanina nang maramdaman ang malakas na ulan at hangin sa probinsya ng Albay.
Wow, we didn't realize how low the water was though.
Climate change is happening now. Pieces of evidence have been supporting the fact that the change cannot simply be explained by natural variation. The most recent scientific evaluation has confirmed that this warming of the climate system since the 20th century is most likely to be due to human activities. This happens due to many internal and external factors. Climatic change has become a global concern over the last few decades. In this video, we're going to discuss hydrometeorological hazards and disasters.
Hydrometeorological hazards and disasters. Hydrometeorological hazard, a process of phenomenon of atmospheric, hydrological or oceanographic nature that may cause loss of life, injury or other health impacts, property damage, loss of livelihood and services, social and economic disruption, or environmental damage. Examples: tropical cyclone, rapidly rotating storm system characterized by a low pressure center, a close low-level atmospheric circulation, strong winds, and a spiral arrangement of thunderstorms that produce heavy rain and/or squalls. Thunderstorms, a localized storm cloud that produces lightning and thunder and often brings a heavy rain shower or hail as well as strong gusty winds. Tornadoes, a localized windstorm characterized by a visible funnel-shaped, rapidly whirling cloud extending downward from the base of a dark cumulonimbus cloud. Storm surges, a rise in sea level that occurs during tropical cyclones, intense storms also known as typhoons or hurricanes. Flood, an overflow of water that submerges land that is usually dry. Drought, the lack for rainfall for normal needs. The El Niño and La Niña phenomena. Most of the basic question that Filipino often asks at the beginning of the year is whether it is going to be a season of El Niño or La Niña. El Niño is associated with having no rains, hence the fear of drought. On the other hand, La Niña is associated with heavy rainfall and hazards such as flood. El Niño and La Niña are part of the global climate. They occur when the Pacific Ocean and the atmosphere above it change their neutral state for several seasons. El Niño is associated with a warming of the central and eastern tropical Pacific, while La Niña is the reverse with a sustained cooling of these same areas. These changes in the Pacific Ocean occur in a cycle is known as the El Niño Southern Oscillation, ENSO. Tropical cyclones. The Philippines is very vulnerable to climate-related hazard due to its location. An average of 20 tropical cyclones enters the Philippine area of responsibility, and 90% of them affect the country. Filipino usually call these climatic disturbances typhoons. However, the appropriate name is tropical cyclone. A tropical cyclone is an intense low-pressure system with a minimum sustained wind velocity of 35 kilometers per hour. The tropical cyclone has an eye which is 10 to 100 kilometers in diameter. This is where the wind is light and calm, and there is no rain. There is an eye wall where the precipitation is heaviest, and the wind is strongest. Spiral rain bands surround the eye. These are some of the most devastating typhoons that hit the world since the 1900s. Of the 16 disasters mentioned, 6 passed through the Philippines. The estimated number of casualties for Typhoon Haiyan was 10,000, but reported figure was 6,300. Categories of tropical cyclone. The Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical Astronomical Services Administration, PAGASA, is the official source of information about tropical cyclones even before it enters the PAR. Tropical cyclones are classified into 4, according to their strength or the speed of the maximum winds near the center. Categories of tropical cyclones. Tropical depression, with a speed of maximum sustained winds of 35 to 63 kilometers per hour. Tropical storm with 64 kilometers per hour to 117 kilometers per hour. Typhoon with 117 kilometers per hour to 180 kilometers per hour. and super typhoon, which is more than 180 kilometers per hour. Public storm warning signals. Pag-asa has also developed public storm warning signals that guide the people on what should be done during a storm. Public storm warning signals, which is signal number 1, which a tropical cyclone will affect the locality. Winds of 35 up to 60 kilometers per hour may be extended in at least 36 hours. So what to do during signal number 1? Listen to the radio for more information about the weather disturbance. Check the capacity of the house to withstand strong winds and strengthen the house if necessary. The people are advised to listen to the latest severe weather bulletin issued by Pag-asa every 6 hours. In the meantime, business may be carried as usual except when flood occurs. Signal number 2. A moderate tropical cyclone will affect the locality. Winds of more than 60 to 100 kilometers per hour may be extended in at least 24 hours. So what to do? Special attention should be given to the latest position, the direction, and speed of the movement as it may intensify and move towards the locality. The general public, especially people traveling by sea and air, are cautioned to avoid unnecessary risks. Secure properties before the signals are upgraded. Board up windows or put storm shutters in place and securely fasten. Stay at home. Signal number 3. A strong tropical cyclone will affect the locality. Winds of more than 100 to 185 kilometers per hour may be extended in at least 18 hours. So keep your radio on and listen to the latest news about the typhoon. Everybody is advised to stay indoors. People are advised to stay in strong buildings, evacuate from low-lying areas, stay away from coastal areas and riverbanks. Watch out for passage of the eye wall and eye of the typhoon. Signal number 4. A very intense typhoon will affect the locality. Winds of more than 185 kilometers per hour may be extended in at least 12 hours. It is advised to stay in a safe house or evacuation center. The situation is potentially very destructive to the community. All travels and outdoor activities should be cancelled. Overall damage to affected communities can be very heavy. The signal's number also indicate which classes are to be suspended automatically by the Department of Education. However, local government units or school authorities can suspend when the local situation warrants it. Automatic suspension guidelines. Signal number 1. No classes in kindergarten. Signal number 2. No classes in elementary and high school. Signal number 3. No classes in all levels, including tertiary level. LGU discretion in areas where there are no storm signals.
Thunderstorms, a localized storm cloud that produces lightning and thunder. A violent, short-lived weather disturbance associated with lightning, thunder, dense clouds, heavy rain, or hail and strong gusty wind. Typical thunderstorm, 5 kilometers in diameter and last an average of 30 minutes. Formation of thunderstorms. Thunderstorms arise when layers of warm, moist air rise in a large, swift draft to cooler regions of the atmosphere. There are moisture contained in the updraft condenses to form towering cumulonimbus clouds and eventually precipitation. Thunderstorms undergoes 3 stages. Initial or cumulus stage, the sun hits the earth's surface, the ground warms the air above it, the warm air rises, and the water vapor condenses to cumulus clouds. Mature stage, the clouds causes heavy precipitation, severe lightning, strong and gusty winds, hail, and tornadoes at the time. It is the stage that the thunderstorm is strongest. Dissipatang stage, the precipitation decreases its intensity and clouds begin to dissipate. Thunderstorm can produce dangerous weather conditions such as heavy rains, floods, tornadoes, hailstones, and lightning. Hailstones, crystals falling from a thunderstorm, and is the least dangerous, but they can destroy crops. Lightning, a visible electrical discharge due to a high voltage differences that build up within the clouds, between the clouds and the ground. The most dangerous hazard associated with thunderstorm, can cause death and injuries and can spark fires. Common signs of impending thunderstorms. Number 1. Towering cumulonimbus clouds. Second, darkening skies. Third, flashes or lightning and gusty wind. Fourth, sound of a thunder. The following are guidelines for what you should do if a thunderstorm is likely in your area. Postpone outdoor activities. Get inside a home, building, or a hard-top automobile. Although you may be injured if lightning strikes your car, you are much safer inside a vehicle than outside. Remember, rubber-soled shoes and rubber tires provide no protection from lightning. However, the steel frame of a hard-topped vehicle provides increased protection if you are not touching metal. Secure outdoor objects that could blow away or cause damage. Shutter windows and secure outside doors. If shutters are not available, close window, blinds, shades, or curtains. Avoid showering or bathing. Plumbing and bathroom fixtures can conduct electricity. Use a corded telephone only for emergencies. Cordless and cellular telephones are safe to use. Unplug appliances and other electrical items such as computers and turn off air conditions. Power surges from lightning can cause serious damage. Use your battery-operated NOAA weather radio for updates from local officials. Common signs of impending thunderstorms. Natural lightning rods such as a tall, isolated tree is an open area. Hilltops, open fields, the beach, or a boat on the water. Isolated sheds or other small structures in open areas. Anything metal, tractors, farm equipment, motorcycle, golf carts, golf clubs, and bicycles.
Tornado. A violently rotating column of air touching the ground, usually attached to the base of a thunderstorm. A localized windstorm. Characterized by a visible funnel-shaped, rapidly whirling cloud extending downward from the base of a dark cumulonimbus. Wind speeds are estimated to exceed 450 km per hour and may last for a few minutes. Waterspout is a tornado that occurs or moves over a body of water. Acts like a vacuum cleaner. It can siphon the water and release it afterwards. It becomes more destructive if the water is released inland, affecting settlements. Tornado can be predicted to the use of Doppler radar. The precursory signs of the tornado. Number 1. The appearance of the funnel-shaped column from the base of the cumulonimbus cloud. Number 2. Having weather that feels warm, humid, comfortable, and calm. Number 3. Lightning and thunder. Number 4. Roaring and buzzing sound of tornado as it reaches the ground. During a tornado, if you are in a house, go to the basement or take shelter in a small interior ground floor room such as a bathroom, closet, or hallway. If you have no basement, protect yourself by taking shelter under a heavy table or desk. In all cases, stay away from windows, outside walls, and doors. If you live on a farm, livestock hears and sense impending tornadoes. If your family or home is at risk, the livestock will be a non-issue. If your personal safety is not an issue, you may only have time to open routes of escape for your livestock. Open the gate if you must, and then exit the area in a tangent direction away from the expected path of the twister. If you are in an office or apartment building, take shelter in an inner hallway or room, ideally in the basement or on the ground floor. Do not use the elevator. If you are in a gymnasium, church, or auditorium, large buildings with wide span of roofs may collapse if a tornado hits. If possible, find shelter in another building. If you are in one of these buildings and cannot move, take cover under a sturdy structure such as a table or desk. Avoid cars and mobile homes. More than half of all deaths from tornadoes happen in mobile homes. Find shelter elsewhere, preferably in a building with a strong foundation. If no shelter is available, lie down in a ditch away from the car or mobile home. Beware of flooding from downpours and be prepared to move. If you are driving, if you spot a tornado in the distance, go to the nearest solid shelter. If the tornado is close, get out of your car and take cover in a low-lying area such as a ditch. In all cases, get as close to the ground as possible, protect your head, and watch for flying debris. Do not chase tornadoes. They are unpredictable and can change course abruptly. A tornado is deceptive. It may appear to be standing still, but it is in fact moving toward you. Drought. A cyclical event, a period of time when an area or region experiences below normal precipitation. An event of prolonged shortages in the water supply, whether atmospheric, surface water, or groundwater. The lack of adequate precipitation. The lack of adequate precipitation, either rain or snow, can cause reduced soil moisture or groundwater, diminished stream flow, crop damage, and general water shortage. With climate change, extreme atmospheric conditions could happen, such as prolonged and heavy rainfall or the lack of rain, resulting in drought. It is a cyclical event, so it can be predicted. It is also a slow onset hazard, hence there could be ample time to prepare and reduce the risk associated with. Drought can have the following impacts. Number 1, agricultural crops will not grow without water. Number 2, animals will die out of thirst. Number 3, as a result of the above, there could be famine or food insecurity. Number 4, the water supply for domestic and industrial use will be reduced. Number 5, there would be less livelihood for people whose jobs are dependent on water supply. Number 6, there would be epidemic and another health problems due to the rise of microorganisms, poor sanitation, and hunger. Number 7, high temperature can trigger wildfire. Preparing for drought. To reduce the risk due to drought, the following measures can be done. Number 1, build structures that can conserve water such as dams, dikes, and irrigation systems. Number 2, issue an early warning to prepare the people, communities, and institutions. Number 3, conserve water even prior to occurrence of the drought. Number 4, adopt indigenous practices in agriculture which could vary depending on the physical situations and cultures in communities. Number 5, preserve and store food. Number 6, desalinate water supplies. Number 7, change lifestyle to adapt to drought.
Flood. Definition and characteristics. Flood is a condition of overflowing of water, especially over land, not usually submerged. It usually affects low-lying and coastal areas. It often occurs when excessive rain falls in a given area and can be inflicted by natural and man-made causes. Natural causes: prolonged rainfall, storm surge, and high tide. Man-made causes: increased urbanization and coastal development, informal settlers, indiscriminate dumping of garbage, deforestation, failure of levee and dams, blasting. Types of flood. River flood, caused by the overflowing of rivers when the runoff exceeds the capacity of the channel. Flash flood, caused by a very short period of unusually heavy rainfall. Coastal flood, occurs when strong onshore winds push the water inland. Preparing for a flood. Pag-asa color-coded warning signals. Yellow, monitor weather condition. 7.5 to 15 mm heavy rain. Observe in 1 hour and expected to continue in the next 2 hours. Flooding is possible. Slight chance in low-lying areas. Orange, alert for possible evacuation. 15 to 30 mm intense rain. Observed in 1 hour and expected to continue in the next 2 hours. Flooding is threatening, possible in low-lying areas. Red, evacuate immediately. More than 30 mm rain, observed in 1 hour and expected to continue in the next 2 hours. Serious flooding expected in low-lying areas. Before flooding. Number 1. Know how often your location is likely to be flooded and to what extent. Number 2. Be familiar with the flood warning system in your community and be sure your family knows it. Number 3. Keep informed of daily weather conditions. Number 4. Designate an evacuation area for the family and livestock and assign family members specific instructions and responsibility according to an evacuation plan. Number 5. Keep stock of food which requires little cooking and refrigeration as electric power may be interrupted. Number 6. Keep a transistorless radio and flashlight with spare batteries, emergency cooking equipment, candles, matches, and a handy first aid kit in case of emergency. Number 7. Securely anchor weak dwellings and items. When warned of flooding. Number 1. Be alert to the possibility of flood if it has been raining for several days. Flood can be recognized when the ground becomes saturated. Number 2. Listen to the radio for emergency instructions. Number 3. If advised to evacuate, do so. Don't panic. Move to a safe area before access is cut off by flood waters. Number 4. Store drinking water in containers, as water service may be interrupted. Number 5. Move household belongings to upper levels. Number 6. Bring livestock to higher ground. Number 7. Turn off electricity at the main switch in the building before evacuating, and also lock your house during flooding. Number 1. Avoid flooded areas. Number 2. Do not attempt to cross rivers or flowing streams where water is above the knee. Number 3. Beware of water-covered roads and bridges. Number 4. Avoid unnecessary exposure to elements. Number 5. Do not go swimming or boating in swollen rivers. Number 6. Eat only well-cooked food. Protect leftovers against contamination. Number 7. Drink clean or preferably boiled water only. After flooding. Number 1. Enter the dwellings with caution using flashlight, lanterns, or torches. There may be flammables inside. Number 2. Beware of fire hazards like broken electric wires. Number 3. Do not eat food and drink water until they have been checked for food and water contamination. Number 4. Report broken utility lines to appropriate agencies or authorities. Number 5. Do not turn on the main switch or use appliances and other equipment until they have been checked by a competent electrician. Number 6. Consult health authorities for immunization requirements. Number 7. Do not go sightseeing in the disaster areas. Your presence might hamper rescue and other emergency operations.
Storm surge pag-asa dose. Description of storm surge. A sudden rise of sea level above the normal level on the coast due to a drop in atmospheric pressure and the force of the wind as a tropical cyclone approaches the coast. Characteristic: the stronger the tropical cyclone and the shallower the coast, the higher the surge. Storm surge coastline inland to as much as few kilometers. Usually, the peak storm surge is experienced near the point of landfall of typhoon or a storm. The rise in sea level can cause flooding and damages in low-lying coastal areas and villages, particularly when the approach of the storm coincides with the occurrence of high tide. Storm surge is caused by wind pressure effect, tidal effect, rainfall effect, shape of the coastline, slope of the seabed. Preparing for a storm surge. To prepare the coastal communities from the storm surge, it is necessary they do the following. Must prepare a disaster preparedness plan that describes the procedure for evacuation. The plan must identify the danger zones, formulate land use management regulations that prevent the building of structure along vulnerable areas, and other structures that are exposed to be risk of storm surge. Must have periodic drills and exercise for the residents to be familiar with the situation. Safety structure can also be constructed such as seawalls, earthen dikes, and wave breakers that can provide safety barriers against the storm surge. Sturdy trees can be planted along the coast. Must also have efficient transport system, rescue operation procedure, and relief rehabilitation plans. Should individuals' families do? Plans for evacuating the members of your family and yourself to higher ground before storm surge take place. Stay off the beach when a weather disturbance is approaching or existing in your coastal community. Refrain from building houses within 500 meters from flat or gently sloping coastline. During weather disturbance, rely on your own initiative rather than wait for government action. Ensure the systematic safekeeping of valuables. Evacuate to higher ground away from beaches as soon as possible when a storm or typhoon approaches your coastal community.
This report has explained the gaps in our knowledge of natural disaster losses and why these gaps should be filled. Poor knowledge of the resulting economic losses hinders the implementation of effective disaster mitigation policies and emergency response programs. Better loss estimates would benefit federal, state, and local governments, insurers, scientists and researchers, and private citizens, both as taxpayers and insurance purchasers. It is clear that data on economic losses of natural disasters to the nation are incomplete and spread widely across the public and private sectors. Information on both direct and indirect costs is lacking. If data on uninsured direct losses are limited, our understanding of indirect losses is even more incomplete. These indirect losses are clearly difficult to identify and measure. However, in large disasters, they may be significant and within the immediately affected regions, potentially greater than the direct losses due to physical destruction, especially in large disasters. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have learned something from this video.